All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're really excited about the next iteration of Halo and where we're going at IP Video. I'm Rick Cadis, VP of Sales and Marketing. And with me today, I have Steve Rice, our Global Director for Business Development, and
Welcome,
John,
thank you.
our Global Director for Channel Support. Okay, so for those of you who are familiar with us or not familiar with us, IP Video Corporation has a number of products. We have the Halo Smart Sensor and the Halo Cloud, which is what we're going to be focused on today. We have ViewScan, which is our metal detector and loss prevention product. AV Fusion, which is our synchronized audio recording software, synchronized audio and video. And then True Security Design, which is our training division. We do a lot of police training, school trainings, and that goes throughout the country as well. All of our products are made here in the USA. Are NDAA compliant, TAA compliant, UL listed, CE certified, and our ViewScan product is actually approved by the Safe Skies organization for airports. So what is the Halo Smart Sensor? First of all, it's an IoT device which is capturing comprehensive health, safety, and vaping awareness. It's got 12 unique sensors in Halo which work together to pick up a bunch of different readings. It's power over Ethernet, it's intelligence on the edge, and we've done a lot on the security side. And we're going to talk about Bacnet later on when Jonathan gets to his piece. And we're really excited that we have a cloud option now. Next. So what's happening at IP Video and specifically with Halo? We're really excited to announce that we're in over 1,500 school districts right now. That's been our first market, which really came to fame from the vaping epidemic. And we're really trying to help schools deal with that problem, which has been completely disruptive in the school systems. Now we're moving not only outside the US, we're growing internationally, but we're also moving into new verticals. So healthcare, hospitality, commercial buildings, residential spaces, assisted living, and a number of different manufacturing environments. And what's helped that and what's driven that is our A&E program. So basically we have a certified course that's for architects and engineers. And that gets into some of the topics we're going to talk about today for healthy buildings and how you can protect against that. We're very excited that Halo has now won over 50 awards, and we expect to get 3 more at the upcoming ISE show. And we're also proud that we're the #1 vape detector in the world. So Halo is successful as a full building security and health safety solution, and it's expanded on from vaping. And now we're seeing deployments where we used to have 20 bathrooms. We've gone out of the bathroom now. And now we're seeing 100 to 500 sensors being put in a single facility. Next slide. Great. So what is the Halo Smart Sensor? So again, it's an IoT device that's capturing comprehensive health, safety, and vaping awareness. You all know it for vaping. So it captures vape, it captures THC, which is the chemical component for marijuana. It does masking. And what that is when someone tries to hide their vaping activity. So they go in and they'll spray cologne or they'll spray Febreze, and then they'll vape and think it's covered. We can pick up the signatures and tell that someone's trying to cover that activity. On the safety side, one of the biggest things that probably isn't being used enough is the spoken keyword. So think about in a school, a teacher, right now there's kids under stress, there's all sorts of stuff going on in this environment. It's very disruptive. Now a teacher in a classroom can yell the emergency word and can notify security right away that they're in danger, they need assistance, they need help. And think of it like even in a hotel environment where a cleaning person goes into a room and is accosted. They can call, maybe their hands are tied like a nurse with a patient. They could just yell that keyword and get help right away. That's a key feature which we want to make sure people are talking about. And then what I want to do is I want to spend some time here on the health, because that's really where we're going to be driving most of this conversation today. So, everyone is very concerned with their health, right? So we've used sunscreen, to protect ourselves from the sun. We drink bottled water, we have vitamins, we exercise, we're eating organic foods. But what about when it comes to the air that we breathe? Like if we smell smoke, we smell a chemical, we know it's not a safe environment to get out. But when it comes to air, most of the things that are harmful to us, we can't tell that it's there. So right now, everyone that's on this webinar, how do you know that the room that you're in at this moment is healthy? How do you know the air you're breathing is healthy? We didn't have a way to do that. Today's webinar, and hopefully where we're going with Halo, we're going to have a way where Halo is going to tell you how the air you're breathing, is it healthy at that time and in the environment that you're in, whether you need to do something about it or not. And this is a game changer for everybody, especially in the time of COVID. And we don't want to use COVID. It's not an ambulance chasing thing, because it's any illness or anything that's harmful to your breathing. Halo is going to provide that information and tell you need to do something about it. So in this rollout today, we're going to announce the new 2.5 firmware, the new version 2C hardware, Halo Cloud, and we're going to get into what our health index is. That's that healthy environment, and our indoor air quality index. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Jonathan Antar, who's going to get into the details of each of these new releases.
Thank you, Rick. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the health index. The health index is going to provide a real-time indication of the potential risk for the spread of infectious disease in buildings and help deter illness spread within those buildings. The next few things we're going to talk about is all focused around what we call our frictionless experience, right? So we would like to make it easier to not only deploy Halo, but easier to use it when you have it. So the first thing we're doing here is something called dynamic vape detection. What that means is Halo is going to learn more about its environment when it comes to vape detection. Now, this is something new. In the past, what we've done with our vape detection is we've set some very specific and static thresholds from which we alert off of. Now Halo is going to use its intelligence to learn its environment and give you vape alerts off of what it's learned from its environment. When it comes to deployment, this makes your installations much, much easier and more cost effective, because in the past you'd have to go install your Halo, let it sit for a little bit and get used to its environment, and then go back and check what the ambient levels of some of the other chemicals in the air were and make adjustments to your thresholds. That second step, no longer going to be necessary. We also have what's called the first time login and update experience. It's a series of windows that take you through the deployment process from a programming point of view of Halo. It's going to give you very specific input points of naming your Halos, IPing them, connecting them to your email products. All of those steps are going to be walked through in the user experience, making it easier to deploy if somebody's less familiar with the technical aspect of Halo. Then we have our Sntp presets, which is a fancy word of saying connecting to your email. So we're going to connect to email much easier. We're giving you presets for some of the more popular email platforms that you would connect to. And then our integrations. We're always trying to make our integrations better and easier. We have integration templates that now will appear within Halo. So a number of different products that we connect to, you can actually go in there, load that template, and it will actually put in a majority of the programming information you need on the Halo side. We also have new and exciting integrations because we continue to develop these relationships with Genetec's IoT sensor plugin, Axis, Senstar, Metasys, OpenBlue, just to name a few. Big focus today is on what's called the Halo Health Index. This is all about knowing the risk for the spread of infectious disease in buildings. We're using 5 factors for this health index. The first one is carbon dioxide, and we have particulate matter in 3 different sizes, 1, 2.5, and 10 micron, humidity, volatile organic compounds, and nitrogen dioxide. So how are these factors important and what are they, right? So carbon dioxide, I'm sure you've heard of before. This is what we exhale as human beings. What happens is, as we're exhaling carbon dioxide, we're exhaling whatever's had contact with our lungs, particulate, respiratory droplets, things like that. We are measuring the carbon dioxide level to see how much of this air has been replaced by our HVAC systems. And as those carbon dioxide levels rise, that is a direct indicator that we are breathing in other people's air. And in higher volumes, the more it goes up. This is what's called the rebreathed fraction. The higher it is, the more air we are breathing in that has had lung contact with another person. Particulate matter is another one that's of major concern. This is the vehicle in which viruses travel from person to person. This can be dust, pollen, respiratory droplets, sneezing, coughing, things like that. Even vape is going to cause a lot of particulate. The smaller the particulate, the further into your respiratory system it delivers the payload of the virus, because it goes in through your mouth, into your lungs, and then deposits in your respiratory system. Relative humidity is another factor that we're very concerned with. Now, there are different levels of humidity that are more relative to comfort. This is very specific to the spread of infectious disease. So above 60% relative humidity, viruses live longer. Below 40% relative humidity, particulates stay suspended in the air longer, for hours. So by keeping between 40 and 60% relative humidity, that is the fastest inactivation of viruses in indoor spaces. Volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, are chemicals exposed in the air, typically caused by cleaning, paints, glues, and they are respiratory irritants. These volatile organic compounds are in the air in much higher capacities and much more frequently because we've changed the way we clean our spaces. Since the pandemic, we're cleaning more often with harsher chemicals and with different cleaning processes. Now we've got to tell these HVAC systems that these chemicals are in the air and have them removed from the air, because these chemicals are intended to clean surfaces, not the air. Yet they are staying in the air and we are breathing them in. And different exposures can result in a lot of different negative effects on humans, whether it's asthma attacks, eye irritation, sneezing, runny noses, headaches, and long-term exposure has more significant impact on the human body. Nitrogen dioxide is the fifth concern that we're looking at. It's typically caused by urban combustion, whether it's vehicles or planes, cars, or furnaces. It's caused from combustion. So nitrogen dioxide directly affects your circulatory system and has long-term effects on the health of your body. Now, there is a direct relation between the case mortality and case fatality rates of COVID-19 and the concentration of nitrogen dioxide in those regions. So when we talk about our health index, it's important to understand what our air quality index is and how they're the same and how they're different. Now, they're both measuring air, right? But their process is really different. With HALO, when we're measuring the air quality index, we're looking at 4 different factors through HALO. Particulate matter of 2 different sizes, carbon monoxide, and nitrogen dioxide. Now, air quality index is a standard from the EPA, specifically measuring the quality of air. It's about general health. Very long measurement cycles over hours. It's averaging data over hours. It's kind of like a rolling average that you look at. Now, health index is very specifically used to reduce the spread of infection, okay, which is not exactly the same as the air quality index. It is using very short measurement cycles because we have to quickly remediate, correct those problems. And the number of contaminants we're sampling is much higher. We're using 6 or 7 samples, depending on the HALO product you're using, versus the 4 that we're going to be using in AQI, air quality index. Now, this is a nice look at which sensors we use for health index versus air quality index. You'll see that there's some overlap, but in general, some of the most important ones used in health index are not used in air quality index. I'd say the 2 most important are going to be your carbon dioxide and your smaller particulate, those 1 microns. Those are the ones that we're most concerned with. So the fact that they're in health index and not in air quality index, that's an important differentiator there. We're using relative humidity there. We're using volatile organic compounds. and air quality index is going to use carbon monoxide. We're not using that one in the health index. So that's kind of where they overlap and are separate and unique. So why is the health index so special, and what are we doing with it, right? What problems are we solving? We're applying the ASHRAE, CDC, and EPA standards for the reduction and prevention of the spread of infectious disease. We're doing fast and frequent readings of the data. We're automating the data analysis side of it, and we're giving a clear path for remediation and correction of those conditions. The problems that we're solving are reducing airborne illnesses. We're helping people with asthma conditions and respiratory illness, and we're reducing drowsiness and increasing productivity. Because remember, one of those factors is carbon dioxide, which are directly related to those two conditions. We also are helping with energy efficiency in buildings. And by doing that, the way we're doing that is by working with what's called demand controlled ventilation. When our HVAC systems are applying their different cleaning or ventilating tasks, we're going to help control that with Halo. And by doing that, we're making these buildings more energy efficient. So with all of this information from an air quality side of Halo, how are we getting into our building automation system? We're going to be using something called Bacnet. Now, Bacnet is over the internet, okay? Over the network, right? And we're going to be sending sensor values into that system where it will automatically correct for whatever condition is appropriate. So I'll give you two examples. Carbon dioxide rises. We need to bring that level down to normal. How do we do that? Well, we need fresh air to do that. So we tell our HVAC system, we need fresh air. When particulate levels are rising, what do we need to do? We need to filter out those particulates. So we're causing recirculation, maybe even mixing with fresh air, but the processes are a little bit different to correct each of these different conditions. And we can talk with these systems to have it automatically correct the problem, removing the need for human intervention. And when one of those systems fail, we can inform that team, that facilities team, that those systems are in a degraded state and need service. I think we've covered the health side of Halo pretty well. Let's start talking about the security side of Halo, because we do have both sides of this product built into one device. So vaping with THC, masking, which is the intentional act of covering up vaping by spraying an aerosol at the Halo and then vaping. We can see all three of those things and differentiate between them. Gunshot detection. We have third-party certification, dual authentication using frequency, sound pattern, and percussion. Our gunshot detection has a 25-foot radius from each device, 360 degrees of detection. We use machine learning for our aggression detection. It's going to learn things like fights or potential events that are overcrowding in areas where it's typically not noisy. It learns its environment and lets you know when something is abnormal from that environment. Spoken keyword alerting, a lot of uses here. We've got 5 built-in keyword phrases that can be used. Anything from anti-bullying campaigns, giving them to students who feel like they're being the target of bullying in schools. They now have a word that they can use to ask for help. Or in hospitality, if somebody's being forced into a room and being assaulted, they can call for help. There's a lot of different ways that you can use these keywords to stop bullying, assault, or just an uncomfortable situation. We also have custom signatures that we can always create on the fly. One very recently occurred. I'm sure people have heard of this TikTok challenge where students were destroying bathrooms for no real good reason other than to bring them onto social media and show everybody, right? We were able to, on the fly, create a custom signature for something we are calling vandalism, where we're using some of these sensors in Halo, because there's 12 of them, to come up with a custom signature for a specific event that just showed up one day, right? And we were able to save schools money and damages and identify the students that are vandalizing these bathrooms. And it was just something on the fly we were able to create out of our, out of our standard sensors that are built into a Halo. Now, once Halo detects an event, what does it do with this information? So we have a speaker built into every Halo. You can play a pre-recorded sound right out of that speaker. We can send emails. We can send email to text. We can notify over our cloud platform, which I'll show in just a few minutes here. And we have an open API. That means we can connect to a lot of third-party products out there. And I'm sure you're familiar with at least one of these on the screen. This is a great sampling of some of the products we integrate with. Everything from our surveillance platforms, which will give you something like camera pop-up or map pop-up or notifications from that platform and act like a single pane of glass for security, to emergency notification platforms, getting that message out to large groups of people quickly, or building automation systems. This is how we get all of this environmental data and security data and feed it into the fabric of the building, where it can automatically correct a condition and notify staff of things that they have to intervene with. Part of our course to how we believe we should be supporting our customer base is by providing them with valuable information and great training. So we've created AIA courses to educate our architects, engineers, and consultants, 3D models and master specs, so that our consultants, end users, resellers, architects, and engineers, they can all put the information into their drawings and into their RFPs to make sure that in the end, they get the product they want that solves the problems that they have. We have online training courses that can be taken on demand and provide additional informative trainings on topics that you may be unfamiliar with. So we do want to also introduce the fact that we have 2 Halo hardware products now. The Halo 2C is a new addition to the family. And what is the difference between the Halo 2 and the Halo 2C? So there really are 3 core differences. The first one being the carbon dioxide sensor. On the Halo 2, it's doing what's called carbon dioxide equivalence, meaning carbon dioxide is going to affect the values of that sensor, but there are other cross gases that can affect it. The Halo 2C is going to be using a calibrated carbon dioxide sensor, very specific, much more accurate when it comes to carbon dioxide. The temperature and the humidity sensors on the Halo 2 are inside the unit. They're kind of like by the computing areas of the Halo. So there are from time to time things that can throw those off and challenge their regulation and keeping them on point. So their drift or as their levels of accuracy sometimes can be off a little, especially if you've got it in a surface mount adapter or the ceiling above it is really hot or really cold. That can affect the accuracy there. And they're codependent, those 2 sensors. The Halo 2C moves that temperature and humidity sensor all the way to the outside edge of the device. Much more accurate, and it's much more of an air quality product when you're using it with the 2C. And we'll talk about when to use one versus the other. Everything else within Halo is identical. So they both act the same when it comes to security, but let's talk about the differences. So we're going to use the Halo 2 when security is of the utmost importance, and they might want to look at air quality as an end user or a customer, but that's not really important to them. Typically, you're going to find the Halo 2s in restrooms and locker rooms with a little bit of air quality monitoring that they might be doing. Now, if air quality is of the utmost importance for an end user or of equal importance to security, that's where the Halo 2C comes into play. Air quality, energy management, building automation, anytime you're talking about those things, Halo 2C is the correct product to be using there. It's got that calibrated carbon dioxide sensor. So if that's impactful, or is that's what's required in the spec, that's where you're on the 2C here. Now it's still going to do every single thing that the Halo 2 does from a security side. It's just adding more value on the air quality side. So think of it as calibrated sensors in the classrooms, in commercial spaces, in clean air required environments, in common areas like open offices or hallways, right? Or anywhere where you are controlling building automation systems. So Halo Cloud is taking insight and awareness to new levels. We have a cloud that we've been really working hard on. We've been doing a lot of development, and it is optional, right? So the Halo Cloud is still an optional add-on to Halo, but trust me, you're going to want it. And here's why. So from an administrative point of view, it is much easier to update and maintain your Halos with cloud. Automatic firmware updates. You can push setting changes to all of your Halos at once. And we can do device health monitoring. So managing, maintaining, updating, much easier when you've got the Halo Cloud available to you. The dashboarding. A lot of people say, well, when I look at a Halo, I look at the user interface of a Halo and it's really nice, but what happens if I have 200 of them, 300 of them? It's not feasible to look at that single user interface of each one of those Halos. So the Halo Cloud is going to take all of those devices and aggregate them into a single dashboard, mapping, something called Hotspot Analysis. And I'll show you what that dashboard looks like. You know, the events are going to be coming in there actively. You're going to be able to see all the sensors and all the data values that it provides and aggregate that information into one place. And then the insights, which is really where the value starts exploding here, because you've got automated reporting that's coming in the next 60 days. We have long-term analytics in there, full year of data storage. So on a Halo, you only have a few days. In cloud, you get a full year of all of your sensor data being stored. Now, this automated reporting, what does that mean to you? That means that I can send reports automatically to various recipient groups on a scheduled time interval. So Monday morning at 8 a.m., I want to send my facilities team the air quality reports. And I also want to send my security team their security reports. I can do that with cloud. That's what's coming in the next 60 days. We have templates for it. And then you just customize that template, choose your recipient group, and set it on a schedule. You can also go back in time and look at the analytics, see raw data, and find trends that matter to you during specific events. How has my air quality been over the last year? What happens over the course of the day? This is what the dashboard looks like, and it can take many forms, but this is one version of it, right? We do have different templates for showing the dashboard that you can choose from and pick which one you like the best. This particular one shows a map. It shows events that are coming in, and it shows some Halos on the side there as well with their data values. You can change this where it's just Halos and their raw datas and events coming in. You're completely flexible in how this looks. The first thing I want to talk about is that hotspot analysis. It's a tool that sits on top of the dashboard all the time. You choose the time filter and the event filter, and what this helps with is identifying the hotspot locations where you have problems that help your resources efficiently operate in your facility. So where are my vape events been in the last week? Where should my security resources be for that? Where is the worst air quality been over the last month, right? Where should I be concerned that maybe my filters need replacement or my systems aren't functioning properly? This can help identify where those types of locations are. We've got our health index. This will aggregate all of your Halo's health index levels. It could show the worst one. It could show an average. You can kind of control how this displays that information. Same thing with your air quality index. You're aggregating multiple Halos and giving a return back on either averages or the highest value amongst your population of Halos. But essentially, it's going to aggregate the data there. The live events and the sensors. So as events start occurring, they're going to populate in that window and start ticking down. So if a vape event were to show up, it would be right there at the top in red if it's still active. And then a new event comes in, it moves that one down one and puts it right there at the top. The interactive map, you can actually use that drop down on the left there and choose which map you want to look at, but it's actionable intelligence to identify the location of events as they're happening. It also makes your dispatch much easier. So these icons are fully interactive. They change color as an event happens. So you see that relative humidity one went red as opposed to the normal green icon, and it went to the icon specific to that event, so you know what the event was and where it was. The analytics will allow you to show different types of trends. A common use for this would be, I can look at my air quality levels over the course of a day and identify something called sick building syndrome. That's where over the course of the day, the air quality within a building gets worse and worse and worse and worse while it's occupied, because the HVAC systems aren't cleaning the air properly. And then everybody leaves for the day and the levels kind of correct themselves over the evening while nobody's there. And then everybody arrives again and the cycle begins. You could identify something like that with these analytics and then deliver that information to the proper resources to get those problems corrected. We talked a little bit, actually we talked a lot about the reporting, but in general, you create these reports and then you can have them exported. You can have them automatically sent. So whatever's the focus of your organization, you cater those reports specifically to that, whether it's security reports, where's the vaping been lately? Where's my aggression been lately, right? Are we improving in this time interval versus the last one? So how are we doing on vaping this month versus last month? This week versus last week? We improving or are things getting worse? You can see that type of trending in these reports. And what's coming next also is the Halo Cloud app. I'm not going to talk too much here. This is really just a teaser that it's coming. I will give you one thing that I know is in there, and that is push notifications directly to the app on your cell phones. So when we have something like that, you don't even need email notifications because you get pushed right to the app, right to the device level. Steve, you want to take it over from here?
Yes, thanks, Jonathan. And just a shout out and a personal thank you for joining us today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit now about some of the marketing opportunities we have going on at IP Video. The first one is our Q4 promotion. I like to refer to this as our peace of mind promotion. Whether you're a customer that's been with us since the beginning or considering to come to the Halo Cloud family in the near future, we have this actual excellent program that's providing great value. Just as a reminder, when you purchase Halos, they come with a 2-year warranty. But now, through the end of the year, we are now offering the ability to extend that warranty when you purchase either a 3-year or a 5-year cloud offering. So excited about having that as a part of our promotions going into the rest of Q4. Next slide, please. The next one I want to talk about, which we're really excited about, is our Halo Help Awards. And think of this as the opportunity for us to learn from each other in terms of how we're using Halo. And it's also an opportunity for that we're excited at IP Video to provide financial reward to your community. And what this is about is that we know that the Halo is getting used in many different ways, and we want to share that with others. So we'd like to hear from you about how you're using Halo to bring peace of mind to parents and students with the quality of the air in a building, how you're overcoming the TikTok challenges that come out where you're seeing the vandalism, where your teachers are looking and seeing the fact that they can use the Halo in their classrooms to call for help. There are many, many different kinds of ways that the Halo is being used, and we'd like to hear about how you're doing that. All the ones that come in, we will be recognizing them with a certificate. The judges will choose winners by feature and by market. So, and there will be grand prizes that will be received to you, to your organizations, of around $500, which are considered scholarships or charitable donations to the organizations that you name. We're really excited about that, of contributing back into your communities. And all of the entries that we receive will then be turned into application case studies to be used for marketing purposes. So really look at this award opportunity as a way for us to learn from each other and for for IP video to contribute back into your communities. Next slide, please. The next thing is that we are very strong with thousands of followers in social medias. So whether you link us, tweet us, like us, we would love to have you a part of that following as well if you're not today. It's an excellent way to learn from the many other customers that are out there of how they're using Halo. It's the events that may be going on out there. And so please look into that and become one of our family members in social media. The other thing that we would hope that you would subscribe to is our newsletter. That's where you find out about the promotions that we're talking about today. And on a particular newsletter just recently, there's a way to get custom posters about stopping vaping in for your schools. So make sure you reach out to us and take advantage of that opportunity as well. Also, real soon you will see a new Halo website in the works. Another reason to get the newsletter and be on social media so that you can see when those things are happening. Next slide, please. So with that, I'd really like to do a recap of all the things that you heard today. The first one is that with the Halo Health Index, realize that we are providing you an approach to understanding the health of your building. Most of what you see today is very one-dimensional. We are bringing in numerous components with the many sensors that we have to help you understand the airborne viruses in the air so that you can create that kind of peace of mind for the parents, for the students as well in the building. With the Halo 2C, excited about being able to provide and control the building management aspects that are out there more accurately and be able to expand what you've done in the bathrooms into more areas of your school. Can't say enough about Halo Cloud. Man, the analytics and the ability for us to provide you insights to help your schools manage the air in the building, the health of the building, and the safety of the building. Real-time analysis to help you on a daily basis. Coming back to that warranty program with the Halo Cloud, peace of mind with that 3-year extended warranty for new and old customers. And we are moving into, but I want to say first, thank you for making us again the #1 vape detector in the world. And now let us help you to build this out within your campuses to provide solutions throughout your campus. And really, we do want to hear from you regarding how we've helped you and how you can help each other with the stories that you have. And we really look forward to providing these scholarships and charitable donations to your community as we receive that feedback from you. So with that, I'd like to take and open it up now for questions, and myself, Rick, and Jonathan will address those with you.
Great, thanks, Steve. You guys just want to turn on your cameras for the Q&A session?
You can do that.
All right. I'm going to go down the list here. So first one, Craig, are these units cleared for federal and military facilities? No Chinese components. So Jonathan?
Yes, they are. We are TAA, NDAA compliant on all of our products, our whole product line.
I think it's important to also state that we're manufactured in the U.S. right in New York. So very important.
All right, next one from Jim. The Halo's wired device using PoE for power. Any plans to go fully wireless using 4G or 5G? And Jonathan,
So our long-term roadmap, we are definitely looking into different connectivity options in the next coming time. So it's in our roadmap. We're just working.
But it's worth mentioning in reality is we're not crazy about the Wi-Fi because of battery. And we really want to always be on, and we want to be there for our customers, which is why we want to stick with a PoE if we can.
Right.
That's the biggest issue.
But there is Wi-Fi in the Halo, as long as you're
Wi-Fi is in the Halo, so if you got APs there, you can certainly utilize that. All right, next, from Scott, does the Halo sensor meet the UL and Nfpa requirements for CO2 detection?
No, Halo is not a UL listed life safety device. So no on that one.
All right. From Joseph, does the older hardware support these new features? So Steve?
Yes, they do. So all that is about is getting the new firmware that should be coming out onto our website before the end of the month. So yes, that's another great point about how you can leverage your investment with us and have that peace of mind. The firmware is all you need to update to get to all these features, connect to the cloud.
Okay, from David, how does the surface mounted adapters affect the temperature reading? Increase, decrease, and what advantages, if any, to using a surface mount adapter?
So the surface mount adapter is going to be needed anytime you're doing something where you need to bring the halo down from a certain elevation. So like vape detection, you can't go above certain heights, things like that. Or if you have a hard ceiling, like a concrete ceiling or something you can't cut into. So yes, it will probably increase the temperature typically of the halo, but we do have a temperature offset setting where you can correct for that. So when you're installing it that way, make sure you're correcting that offset in the settings.
So Steve, Craig is asking if there's any supply chain issues with chip shortages.
Aha! Well, I'm so surprised that somebody asked that question. Welcome to a world that IP video is not a part of yet. We are pleased that we have plenty of inventory with distribution for our product. So at this point in time, it's a very fluid dynamic out there, but today and through the end of, as we see it through the end of the year, we're in great shape to provide product for you.
And I did see a further question down the line on distributors. So you do want just announce our distributors again, Steve, for the group?
Sure. So in the Americas, or North America, we have Ingram, ADI, ScanSource, and Cochrane Supply. And we have other distributors globally. So if that becomes a question, please let us know.
Thank you, Steve. A question from David. Can I use a local dashboard for multiple halos without using the Halo Cloud software? If not, how much does the Halo Cloud software cost? So Jonathan, take the first part and then I'll ask Steve to address pricing.
Yeah, so if you want to look at multiple halos at one time, you do need to aggregate that on the cloud. If you were to use a third-party product, you could do that as well. So a lot of people use third-party software to aggregate multiple devices, but the cloud's the way to go there. You can't have that dashboard kind of replicate itself at multiple.
And Steve, Philip and David want to know the price difference, MSRP, on the Halo 2 versus 2C, and also on the cloud. So if you can give a rundown there.
Yeah, so for the Halo 2 and the Halo 2C, there's a $100 MSRP difference between the two. So $12.95 MSRP for 2.0 and $13.95 for the Halo 2C. So with our cloud offerings, we offer a 1, a 3, and a 5-year offering. And so the MSRP starts at $155 per year and goes up from there for the 3 and the 5. But contact your local distributors for accurate pricing for you as a reseller of that product.
Okay, great. Thank you, Steve. Jonathan, how do you import floor plans into the cloud, and can it be PDF?
So the PDFs have to be converted to JPEGs or PNG files, which is very easy to do. And it's when you're in cloud, you just go to the mapping section and there's a spot where you just upload a map. You just upload an image and you have it right there. And then you can literally just click on your halos and they start appearing and you move them and save it. It's very, very simple.
Okay, great. And that was from Doug. And then John would like to know, can you go into more detail about the hotspot analysis graphic?
Sure. So the hotspot analysis is really nice because it's going to show you where your resources should be. So you can filter out how many events of what type you're looking at. So all of your events, maybe you just want to know where your vape events were and how many. So it'll tell you, there were 25 vape events at this halo, 19 at this halo, 12 at this halo, 5 at this one, right, in descending order. And then you know where your problem areas are for vaping. Now, that can apply to any sensor type you want, and that can also apply over any time window. So in the last day, in the last 3 days, week, month, you cater it to what you want. And then it constantly just updates that hotspot right there.
So even with air quality, right, Jonathan, if you have different buildings on a campus, you could see your filtering and how well it's working based on those reporting.
Particulate alerts, things like that.
I just have to say, I can't, when we get the Halo Cloud app, it's really going to push that in real time to your phone as well. So look for that.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite question, Steve Rice, from Pat and Austin. So can you go into the extended warranty? If I have a device, does that mean I get 3 extra years?
Yes, so let's look at it this
5-year warranty.
Yes, there we go. So if you are a new customer purchasing Halos today, and you also purchase the 3 or the 5-year cloud offering, you get the 2 standard years plus 3 additional years for 5. If you purchased Halo, say a year ago, so you have 1-year warranty still left under your standard, and you have the additional 3, so now you have 4. If you bought 2 years ago, your warranty has expired, but you now have 3 years of extended warranty. That's what I mean by peace of mind. You have, your investment is going a long ways for you.
Steve, Jim would like to know, Jim before asked about the questions on who are distributors, but he also wants to know who can he go to for help with RFPs that they're receiving.
Oh, so if there are RFPs that you are receiving, then make sure that you come to me, or you'll see the contact details on the next slide.
Skip the slide. So all the contacts are up. Great.
Right. So then one of the important things to call out here is that the new members to our team are Mike Davis and Mike Santini. Those are 2 people to reach out immediately if you have those kinds of RFPs or need assistance with responding to an RFP to make sure we comply. So those are 2 people that you should have at the top of your Rolodex, if you will, to talk to.
And if anyone sends an email to info@ipvideo, we'll make sure it always gets to the right person, and we respond to all emails within 24 hours. So, all right. When will 2.5 be available? From David.
Today, you can actually order. I mean,
firmware.
Sorry. So the 2.5 firmware is going to be coming out by the end of the month.
And the 2C, when is that available, Steve?
Now there we go. Thank you very much. So the 2C is available today. Actually, we've already been shipping product as we speak for 2C.
Okay, Steve, is there a recurring fee for the Halo Cloud?
As you purchase a 1 or a 3.5 offerings, that's the recurring part to that. So you can, if you buy 1 year, then each year you can re-up again. So yes, there are reoccurring fees for the Halo Cloud.
Okay. So from Doug, you're not requiring a CAD drawing for the Halo Cloud maps?
No. We need JPEGs or PNGs.
Okay, Steve, can you talk to some of the grants and subsidies that Halo qualifies for?
So yes, from excellent question. So we can provide assistance with regards to using CARES Act money, ESRA money. They are out there. In fact, some of the largest projects we're doing are flowing through those types of grants and federal funding. So please make sure you reach out to Mike Davis and myself if there's more you need to learn about how to do that.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that what's nice about Halo is it qualifies for health grants, anti-vaping grants, it's school safety grants, and also air quality grants across industries. So it can, any bucket or any grant that falls in any of those 3 areas, you can apply with and get funding for Halo. Right, next. Is the GUI for the cloud the same for the non-cloud solutions?
No, they're different. So you have cloud, which I showed the user interface in the webinar, and then the standard Halo user interface looks like that. Right, so they're different. They look different.
Great. And for Bill and anyone else, we will send this webinar out to everyone after the fact, and then after a few days, Teresa will pop it up on our YouTube channel, along with where all of our rest of our videos reside, and you can access it there. Okay, so from David, what about those that don't want the cloud? What options are there for those who have multiple Halos but don't want to use the cloud?
Right, so we have a tool called the Halo Device Manager, which specifically is used to manage the Halos. Program multiple at one time is an on-premise, an on-network tool, right? So you either need to VPN to the network or be physically on the network with the computer you're running that tool from to see those halos. And then you can update them from that tool in bulk, program them, things like that. But it is an on-prem tool. It's not a tool for dashboarding or anything like that, though. It is strictly management.
Okay.
To add to that,
just real quick, Steve, we only have 8 minutes left of the webinar. We got about 100 questions that came in just since.
Okay.
We promise we will send these questions out to everybody because we're going to run out of time on them, but we will get an answer to everybody on their questions. Go ahead, Steve.
Just to follow up on that about the Halo in terms of not using or the cloud being optional. The exciting thing that puts us way ahead of our competition is that the Halo is intelligence at the edge. So it can make all the decisions for you right there without having to have a cloud platform to do that. And that's what makes us really different. But we're very confident that you will want the cloud because of the analytics and the insights it gives to your building. So.
All right. And Jonathan, from Eric, can the units be hardened for outdoor scenarios?
No, Halo is an indoor-only device.
You want to take the opportunity to talk about roadmap stuff or no? We're going to give a little teaser. All right, Eric,
you have something to say.
Stay tuned for that, for our next release. If you go to ISC West, we'll talk about outdoor. All right. With the Halo provide ability to use a custom safety word versus using a pre-programmed safety word? And that's from Matt.
So we have to be very careful in the word phrases we use because we have to test them for false positives. So we're open to new words that bring us into new markets and have new applications. Currently, there are 5 emergency-based keywords built into Halo. But yes, we're definitely open to new ones, but not something where you could just type in something and use it because it's really too easy for them to get a lot of false positives from something like that.
Okay, Jonathan from Sntp, after the new firmware is updated, does the device need to be recalibrated?
No. I haven't heard from Sntp in a while. How you doing, Sntp?
Ed, any plans on adding an offset on humidity?
No, so the humidity and temperature are codependent. So if you get the temperature right, the humidity is going to be pretty close to right as well. So really your offset's built into your temperature.
Okay, from Tanner. Steve, will the surface mount be available in a metal housing option in the future for Vandal proof?
Well, I can take that one because the current housing and the Halo themselves are IK10 impact rated. So, I mean, for
you're
you
good to go with that at that point.
Really be hitting them with an object hard. Yeah, okay. They can take a hit.
Yep.
And then it has the tamper alarm. So as soon as it's touched, it's going to send an alarm as well and let someone know that someone's messing with the device.
Correct.
We had schools actually catch kids on people's shoulders trying to take the device down, and they were alerted before the kid got off the kid's shoulders. All right, from Natalie, Steve, do you offer a deal registration?
We do. So if you go to our website, there is a place called Halo Project Registrations, ViewScan Project Registration, and so forth. So as a platinum reseller with IP Video, you have that opportunity to register projects that are 25,000 or more based on your platinum price. And that's for the Halo 2 and the Halo 2C. And if you bundle that with the Halo Cloud, we offer additional discounts as well.
And Jonathan, Buddy'd like to know what the interface is again for the HVAC system.
It's called Bacnet. B-A-C-N-E-T.
Yeah, some of these are specific to. Okay, last question from Danny. Steve, do you sell through distributors only or dealer direct?
We only sell through distribution, exclusively that way. And they have a product that you can get today. So everybody has inventory. That's our authorized distributors.
Yeah, and we did have a bunch of questions that are specific to dealers and local dealers in their area and those type of things. We'll make sure that we get all those answers addressed. And it looks like there was some repeat questions as well. So, from my standpoint, I just want to thank everyone for attending today. We're always here if you have any questions on anything that was covered today or anything, any suggestions or questions you may have about our future roadmap. certainly reach out to us. We will be at ISC East next week, so stop by the IP video booth and see us. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today. And we're excited about what we're doing here, not only on the anti-vaping front, but also on the health side. If we can make us all healthier, that's great. So, Steve?
And let's learn from each other, Rick, from the standpoints of the awards opportunity that's there. That's a great way to learn and for IP Video to contribute to your communities financially. Looking forward to getting all the ways that you've used Halo so that we can share that with the community.
Jonathan, any final words?
Just want to thank everybody for coming on, and we're really taking this to great places. So it's exciting to do these wonderful projects with everybody. I really love doing it.
And to all our dealers that are on today, and also all of our end user customers, thank you for making us #1 in vape detection. And we're hoping you make us #1 in air quality, and we do this together. So thanks everybody, and
Have a great day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody.